Welcome to another episode of Real Talk with Rebecca Steeves Realty.
Team.
That's us.
That's us. Topic today is about knowing the area that you're servicing. And I found that when it got really crazy and inventory got really low, we had a lot of realtors servicing areas that maybe weren't their normal.
Yeah, people were, first of all, traveling because buyers coming to the province didn't care where they were. They just wanted to buy somewhere in New Brunswick. And because there was nothing to show them in one location. So they were traveling. Yeah.
And usually we send out referrals or connect them with people in different parts of the province. But you had clients who you had a relationship with.
Well, I had referred them actually to an agent in Moncton and someone that we'd worked with here before. And they just decided that they wanted to, they did look at a lot of properties with me here in Fredericton, and then they left the province and decided, we like this one that's in Moncton, and they really wanted me to go. And so I said, okay, no problem. My family's from there originally. I know the area kind of. And I feel like I really dodged a bullet, and it was kind of dodging a bullet is no pun intended, because so this property was almost $1 million. And so I go there on a Saturday afternoon, and the property is spectacular. And all of a sudden I'm outside, I hear this pop, 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 pop. And I'm like, is it duck hunting season? Because it's like on this marsh. And so then one of the neighbors is out mowing his lawn, whatever. And I'm like, what is that like popping sound? And he's like, there's a gun range across the river. And I mean, to me, it would have driven me.
And the house was on the river.
The house was on the river.
Yeah.
It would have driven me as a person absolutely crazy. And would I have known that? No, I wouldn't have known that.
Because you weren't from the area.
I'm not from the area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
your clients didn't care.
My client, in fact, what I did is, we had done a virtual tour, and I walked them outside so that they could hear the popping sounds. And they're like, we live near like a hunting area. We don't mind. So when I sent them off, the information on the property, which they ended up buying, and as far as I know, they're still there, we disclosed that right in an email to them. And they said, yes, we're fine. We understand.
Yeah.
But if I had have gone to see that on a weekday, and if they weren't people that minded, I would not be doing my due diligence as a realtor. And that was probably the last time I ventured out into an area that I truly do not know.
Yeah. And that's kind of an extreme version, because, there are smaller details that can be important too, like this time of day or year, the traffic is absolutely insane in this area, or the bugs get really, really, really bad, or like little things like that. Even we know about that here, but we don't know anything for some other areas.
Yeah. I talk about an area you are familiar with.
Yeah.
I think I'm the most familiar with this house that was listed, not our listing, because it was my old house and it was listed and my clients wanted to see it. And I was super thrilled to have reason to go back and look at my old house. But something I knew about it that a lot of people wouldn't know, where it has a graveyard on the property. And if you're not familiar with the area, and in that case they had disclosed, but when we purchased it.
Yeah, no, it was disclosed.
It was disclosed, but sometimes you wouldn't have known.
No. Unless
you trekked down, because it was over an acre, unless you trekked down into the property. It was, this graveyard was like 100.
3 headstones or something.
Yeah, 3 headstones, over 100 years old. But these are weird things that you find out on properties, about the area, that's why you have a realtor to dig. Not dig in this instance.
Oh, yeah.
To dig into that metaphorically, not physically.
Bullets and digging. And you just had one the other day that just from researching with...
Yeah, just looking at the subdivision plan. And it was also disclosed. But when I looked at the previous listing, I don't think it had been disclosed to the person before that there's a pipeline on the property. And obviously there are pipelines in the streets for people who have natural gas coming into their homes. But this was the main pipeline bringing natural gas to all of the Maritimes. And it's running through the property.
Yeah. So one of the
So I had never dealt with that before. So then here I am, like, calling the lawyers and calling insurance companies and figuring out, like, how is this going to affect them if they buy it.
When I was taking my brokerage exam, or they call it manager's license in New Brunswick, but other areas would know it as a broker's exam, I was told about a story of a real estate agent in Miramichi that you guys don't know this, so you're just like curious,
waiting with bated breath.
So a real estate agent sold a client a house, and after he closed on it, he found out there was a halfway house down the street, and it wasn't disclosed to him on purchase. And he was an RCMP officer. I think the buying realtor or the listing realtor, I think they ended up having to pay about $18,000. And one of them did leave the business because of this. And it's not something...
Are they not allowed to live?
No, but I think if you are an RCMP officer, maybe you don't want to be close to somewhere on...
That
you
you're
might have
going to get calls
arrested,
to.
or you had...
Yeah.
You might have... Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So that's just, how important it is to do your due diligence, just not just to find out about the properties, but just your buyer's needs, right? So,
And what's going on in the area that they're looking at in general. Like maybe a property is perfect for somebody, but you want to be letting them know about schools and amenities and all kinds of things.
Construction.
Developments, all kinds of things. Yeah.
People who rely on the dam here to get back and forth, and if they didn't go over the dam, they'd have to drive way further, and then and the dam is under construction all the time. People need to know these things if they go visit the house and it was easy to get there, and
flooding's a thing in Fredericton.
Sure.
We always look that up for any buyer coming from out of town, but sometimes it's not just that the area floods.
It's not just the property in the basement, it's the roots getting to the house.
The access, right? Yeah. And
like your house might not flood, but you won't be able to get to it because, the
road
leading to it does.
Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
So, and Marissa's so familiar with that.
Familiar. I've learned many lessons.
Yeah. I feel like we should just put beside you that little picture of you and your waiters on your street.
Wow.
Marissa purchased that house before becoming a realtor and before knowing us.
Yes, before being a true Frederictonian. Yeah, definitely a lot of things that you discover in listings. Some you learn lessons from, some are just interesting. Like one time I was showing a house and there was a very creepy basement, and in the basement there was a freezer that was all wrapped up and it said "do not open," and it was probably nothing, but it's one of those things that stuck with me. I'm trying to think of other weird things I've seen in listings.
Weird things. There was one listing that I saw that had a toilet at the top of the stairs. I don't remember, no bathroom around it. Just like if you came in the front door, you would see the toilet.
The king's seat right there.
That's certainly one type of throne.
That's funny.
And sometimes people are blind to those things. Like I went into a listing over the weekend and they had a portable toilet in the garage, and you entered into the garage. So you're like, oh, look at this nice big garage. You can pop a squat if you need to. And it was the client who said, because their kid was with them, and they're like, how do people leave that there? And he said, well, they probably don't even think about it. They're blind to it. But yeah, you see a lot of interesting things.
People make their houses their own, and that's great, but then when it comes time for the next owner, there's
a few changes.
Quirks.
I did go into a listing one time that they had converted a half bath into what looked like an outhouse in their house. They basically had cedar shingles and an outhouse door on it, and it was very strange because it was like an in-town house.
Weird. We have a visitor.
Oh, do we? Well, shall we say goodbye then?
This is our short little episode because it's time for me to
be a mom.
Be a mom.